Wiggle, wiggle.
Like.
Hey, Muffin here. Welcome back. So once again, another subscriber request. This time, this is actually one I had tried to do a while back. I had a lot less subscribers and we didn't actually have a very good turnout. As a matter of fact, the first time I tried doing this, I think we might have only had one Tortoise, like a subscriber that actually had the tank. And I had a lot more subs now, and I was a little nervous to try this out because I was like having, make the announcement, people show up. I do have people want to spectate and then not have enough tanks. We did have a little bit of a turnout, so 3v3. And there's things about these two tanks that I just knew what to expect going into it. First of all, just one of the slowest showdowns you could possibly do. The T95 going, I think, about like 13 kilometers an hour, like 15 kilometers an hour, somewhere around there. Tortoise is a little bit faster, but you could tell at the beginning of these matches, I just fast forward because it takes a chunk of the game for them to even reach each other and get there. It is really almost as if you were to put two turtles in a cage and just kind of watch them crawl toward each other to duke it out. So, and I don't even know really if turtles in real life even do fight or how that would even happen. Anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but between the T95 and the Tortoise, there are some things that are impressive, that are pretty good. They do have some pretty, some have bigger downsides than others, but in my opinion and vote when going into this, even before doing this vid, and I will save the outcome for what actually happens, know what happens, but just going off my opinion is that the T95 would win, primarily because the T95 has a much better frontal armor profile. The Tortoise used to be actually stronger when it had first come out, and that typically happens when tanks do first come out in the game. Is they're normally stronger. And I'm not sure if that's because Wargaming wants them to become impressive and people to spend more of the time trying to get them and grind the line and have them be just exciting. And then once they've been in the game for a while, they nerf them. Well, I mean, that's what's happened to both the T95 and the Tortoise over time. T95 used to have a stronger cupola on top. Just to backtrack just a little bit. So T95 did take the first match. So when looking at these two, as mentioned, so the T95 has a much better frontal armor profile. And being the Tortoise is also kind of a similar tank destroyer, not very fast, the Tortoise is going to have to take a little bit more time to aim on those weak spots. Whereas the Tortoise, its frontal armor isn't as good. The T95 doesn't have to focus in and aim for as long because it still has a good penetrating cannon. And for the most part, a lot of it, the Tortoise does become penetratable by that 100 and I think it's about 50 millimeter cannon from the T95. So it is slower, but like I said, that armor definitely gives it the advantage. Now with the Tortoise, it has a way better gun arc, so you can come out around corners quite angled and have your cannon pointed pretty far over one way or another to try and get shots off. Like I said, it does have more maneuverability. And it does have like a pretty impressive cannon. Now, the average damage per shot isn't as high as the maxed out T95 cannon, but it, I believe, has better accuracy, and the reload is a lot quicker. But with the T95 having more of a derpy cannon, it doesn't have to have as many chances to expose itself to get those shots off. So second round here, 1 Tortoise down. Honestly, not a bad move from the Tortoise, try to put himself in a spot to spot for his team so they could take shots at the T95. However, got a little close, and those T95s did come pouring down on him, making it a little difficult. So you can see just that good rate of fire. Got a couple shots on the side of the T95. Now, I've been playing the T95 just over the past couple or few days. It is one of these tanks that can be, for me anyway, quite enjoyable, because if you can get yourself to the right positions on the front lines, you can totally tell most of your enemies have they start having this movement like they're trying to get away from you, or like this, oh crud, like this is not good, and putting him in a pretty bad spot. Not a lot of people want to be facing the front of a T95, but one of the things that is also very frustrating about it is just with how slow it is. So great game. This time there were 2 T95s that were knocked out. We're going to have one last round, and this one we just decided to do the smallest map. I think Copperfield is the smallest map. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we definitely wanted to do a much smaller map just to save time. And I'll be honest with you, out of all my showdowns or vids that I've had to do, or I've done, I've never had to consciously think about, okay, I need to incorporate a smaller map because the tanks are so slow and they take just so long to get to each other. Now, pretty big cupola on top of that Tortoise, unfortunately. And really, with these tanks not having any turrets, you really have to rely on trying to wiggle around that top hatch, or that cupola on top of the Tortoise. Pretty big. The one on the T95 is smaller. And you do have to rely a lot on trying to wiggle to do what you can to deflect those rounds. So 1 Tortoise down, trying to do what he can. Unfortunate bounce. Tortoise, I think, tried to have a good initial plan of coming up from behind, but unfortunately, teammates got wiped out before he could actually come up from behind and surprise them. So, not a really common tank, I think, when doing a lot of vids. Rooms are typically pretty filled, players taking turns, but even after 17K subs, still don't have a lot of people that have this tank. Not that I don't ever see it really in battle. I think there's maybe a lot of people that don't necessarily care for them as much because they can be really slow. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the vid. This is the Muffin here. You guys stay cool and keep tanking.